people, how are you? Very warm welcome to day 94 of Lyndall's Luscious Limberings. I say warm welcome, but it is a tad chilly in here today. I have my heater on for the first time, actually, because we're doing stretchy chill out day today, and I just figured that I don't want to get cold. I don't know about you, but I'm actually quite stiff. I don't know if that's from the stuff we're doing in the Limberings, or I sort of ramped up my my Pilates that I do for show fitness. So it could be that. So I just need to stretch. So I'm going to again project my needs on you in this lovely collective chill out warm up session. So keep yourself warm if you're in Melbourne. If you're in Northern Hemisphere, again, I'm very happy for your warmth. Mind you, tell you what, I am bloody glad that we don't have to wear masks in summer. Oh my word, that would be horrible. So actually right now, a little bit glad that it's a bit chilly. All right, okay, let's do this for day 94's playlist. 3, 2, 1, go. Great. Just start by giving yourself some, percussion. So just sticking around the tops of the shoulders. And again, you can either do this with a cupped hand or this part of your hand, this part of your hand, whatever feels good for you. And just working down the arm. Keep the knees soft still while you're doing this. Good, and then just give it a rub, squeeze out all through the muscles. You know, if you have a spiky ball after this, go for it. Try this bit in here, it's probably sore. Give it a gentle, almost like a horse bite through the muscles. That's it, and down the forearms. Obviously I'm doing this quite briefly. You can spend more time on this. Just try and shake out your own arm if you can. It's a bit hard. Yeah, so you know, indulge in this a bit more later on. Good, and the other side. Yeah, those shoulders are quite sore, so that can't just be from my Pilates. You're welcome. Good, and rubbing through the shoulders. I just realised my light wasn't turned on. There we go. It's wondering why it was so dark. I am a professional. It's fine. Now rub the hands together. Beautiful. Then gentle percussion over the chest. You can again use the heel of the hand. Really get into this area in here. Could be quite sore. Obviously, you know, don't hit to the point that it hurts. It's going to be good for clearing crap out of your chest as well. Particularly if you're getting hay fever and that kind of thing. Over the ribs. Over the front of the belly. And taking it over for the back. Go up as far as you can reach at the back. If you've got someone with you, ask them to do it for you. It's quite good. And really give some love to the small of the back. And just, you can start to roll down a little bit and just keep exploring the back. Let the head be super heavy. And taking it down over the butt into the glutes, so the sides of the butt and underneath the butt, basically anywhere that hurts, which could be all of it. Great, and again with the hands, just start off by rubbing the thighs, and you can really get the muscle and just sort of rub it around the bone. And a little bit of percussion. 20 above and below the knee. And down the leg. Good, other leg, starting off by rubbing. Get the blood flowing through it. Good, and down. Just go back to the back and just do some rubbing, nice and warm. And you can get the patch of the fingers and just start to work in into the areas that are sore. Same with going over the tops of the hips and the butt. Good, and just hang down
And just have a bit, the legs could be either straight or bent. Just put them in a position that gives you a nice stretch. So wherever you feel it most, so you might want to have it just over the back, or you might want to have it over the butt or the backs of the legs. But you can just also really gently rock yourself forwards and back, so the weight's on the heels and the weight's on the toes. Super light. Good. Just drop the butt for a second into a crouch, mostly just to drain the blood out of your head for a sec. But also what you can do is just drop the chin a bit and stretch it on the back, making a bit of a C curve with the body. Good. Put your head up again for a sec, just looking from left to right. Good, looking up and down, nice and light. So you can indulge a little bit in this going under. Remember, going up to normal here is actually a slight tilt back of the head because our bodies aren't exactly straight up and down. So don't go too far when you come up, but really indulge in that tuck down, nice and light. Good, and then just back up. And roll through the shoulders. Now if you're starting to feel you can straighten the legs a little more. And then just straighten as much as you can before you feel a stretch. You can put the hands anywhere behind the legs to support you. Sending the butt towards the ceiling. Good, then just give yourself a hug and take some deep breaths in a way that separates the hands away from each other. You can have a knee bend now. Good, and again, just put the hands with the index fingers touching over the small of the back and breathe in so that the breath separates the hands. Obviously, if you're breathing in so deep you're feeling dizzy, just come down and regulate your breathing. So you're not trying to over breathe, you're just breathing in a way that separates the hands away from each other. Good, then just coming down to your knees again. I totally meant to a squat. Good, and sitting on your butts. Rolling onto your back, hell yes, that's where we all want to go. Yes, rolling down. Now just flatten the back up on the floor and then have the knees here. So I'm not really trying to bring the knees towards my chest, I'm just bending them. At the moment I'm prioritizing having the back flat on the ball and also flat on the floor. And make sure the chin is tucking, so if you need to use your hands to not only knock off your headphones, but we'll just lengthen a little bit through the neck. And really feel like the small of the back sinking into the floor. And then we can just twist from side to side. If you want to use the hands to help, then do that. So I'm really not emphasizing the pulling of the knees towards the chest at this stage. But have the feeling that small of the back is definitely relaxing down deep into the floor. Good, now we can do some gentle circles again, not really fussed about trying to bring the knees in. And you can start to get the feeling you're actually massaging the small of your back on the floor, which is quite nice. Good, and change direction. Keep breathing. Tell you what, we have got a beautiful blue sky today. It's very exciting. Good. Just place one foot down, don't up the other one at the top, and just gently open and close. Again, don't be violent with this. You know, you don't have to move to the point where like, oh, I want to feel where the pain is, or I want to really feel like I'm stretching. This is not about that. We're just trying to mobilize the joint. So even just working well within the extreme of your range of movement, you can just mobilize forwards and back. Keep letting the small of the back relax into the floor. Think also about your sternum. You can feel like that's starting to relax down into the floor. Good. Now using your hands just to help passively stretch that out. Again, I find if I put my hand closer to the hip joint, it's easier to find that stretch. You find it where it works for you. Good, and just change over. You really have the feeling the ribs are widening and spreading, and again sinking deep into the floor. And same with the actual wings of the pelvis, also sinking deep into the floor. Everything deep in the floor. Just make that a rule. Good, and then using the hand just to help passively stretch out that joint. Good, and then back into circling again. And if you're feeling comfy, you can get a bit more of a range through this. And the other way. Good, and just stretching the heels, the toes towards the shins. Just take both feet up and then down. So I'm pushing out with the heels rather than the toes, and the toes is pulled back into a flexed position. And each time you can just indulge a little bit more in that feeling of trying to get the heels to touch the ceiling. Great, now we're going to stay up and we're going to make alternate V's. So V's with the heel in and then with the toes. Keep breathing through that, letting the small of the back relax and deeper into the floor. Sternum soft. Good, and now just make it a little bit quicker. So we're just switching from V to V. Good, bring the knees down and circle again. And hopefully you should start to feel a little bit more of a range of movement with that. And go the other way. Beautiful. Just pop down one leg and take the knee with the opposite hand. So I've got my right knee up, my left hand up, and I'm falling over to the left, and just look down the right arm. I'm not fussed about this knee trying to touch the ground. I'm just going to let the weight of the gravity of my hand on that knee just to start to encourage it down, but I don't want to push it, and I want to keep the opposite shoulder on the floor. And then in that position, just try and find where the body's locking, and imagine you're either breathing into that area or unlocking the muscles, switching them off, melting, opening up. Good, take a deep breath, and on the outward breath, just come back up. And just let that knee come in to the chest. Again, just let the weight of the elbows start to pull it down. And then take it out to the side. If you don't feel the stretch on this, bring the knee further up high. You're either going to feel it on the opposite hip or you might actually feel it on the inside of the thigh here. Depends on where you're most tight. For me, I get it mostly on the other hip. Make sure both hips are trying to relax into the ground though. Don't let this one roll up. Good, using the outward breath, just come back in again and squeeze it in. And give it a bit of a wiggle, rotating from side to side. If you link your fingers over your knee and do this by sort of pushing from one heel of the palm to the other, you can really get the feeling you're just sort of loosening, like you're trying to loosen a tight peg out of a tight hole, because that's a situation we do frequently. Just give it a little jiggle. Good, other leg, so bring the left leg up, right hand on the knee, left arm out to the side. I'm falling over to the right hand side. And looking down the left, again, just let gravity do the work for you. No pressure to try and touch the floor, it's not about that. Just giving ourselves an opportunity to stretch out. It's very likely that you'll find one side different to the other. That's because we're humans. Do you know even animals are right or left pawed, like with their front leg? There you go, fun fact. If you're trying to find a vein to put a catheter in a dog's arm, just so you know, those of you who don't know, I used to be a vet, so I'm allowed to talk about this. I'm not just randomly stabbing dogs. But the vein is bigger on their dominant hand, dominant foot, dominant foreleg, forelimb. There you go. So, yeah, animals are left or right-footed. And they are predominantly right-footed. See, look, lockdown days, there's all this information, all this learning we can do. Good, and take the leg out the side now. Again, if you're not getting a stretch, bring the knee up higher, and you're either going to feel it on that inner thigh or on this hip, or both, but let this hip, the off hip, really drop to the ground as well. Good, using the outward breath, come back up, and give it a squeeze again. And then using the hands, just jiggle that peg free from the hole. Good, and both legs in again. Just pop down, we're just going to do a bridge up. Let's keep this one subtle so you can keep the hands down, just bridge up to stretch the pelvis away. And then back down. And again. And back down one more time. And down. Good, just popping the left knee over the right and looping forwards. Hands either through the thigh or through the shin and wag like a dog because you're so happy with the stretch. So happy. Wag, 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 wag. And just gently encourage a stretch through the leg, through the glutes. And teeny tiny circles. And the other way. Beautiful. Pop that down. Take yourself to the left-hand side of the mat. If the left leg's over the top. And just falling over to the right. And if you want, then looking down that left arm as well. Again, just find the areas that are catching and just encourage them to release. Good. Come out, straighten the right leg and uncurl. And then popping the right leg over the left. Looping through the middle. And again, wag the tail. Happy dog. And stretch. Just make sure the sacrum's still relaxing out long on the floor. You're not curving up through the spine in an effort to try and stretch. That's counterproductive and somewhat cheating. It's better to do less of a stress with good form, as I have said before. And now teeny tiny circles. And circle the other way. Beautiful. Pop that knee down, go over to the right hand side. And falling over. Good. Just uncurl by straightening that left leg. And just take yourself over onto, just nice and gently, onto all fours and just pop back down into a child's pose. Breathing deep without let the head be nice and relaxed. You can creep the fingertips out further and gently put them in the floor so you can pull back against it. Feel like the shoulder blades are spreading to the sides. And creep the fingers across to the left, keep stretching. And across the other way. Back into center. Just coming up into all fours and just stretching up and down. In your own time, just take yourself going through cat-cows. But again, imagine that it's the spine that's moving up and down and the muscles are quite relaxed around it. So again, don't try and create a feeling of tension through the muscles just so you find a stretch. Instead, let the muscles be released and just let the spine move up and down. Beautiful. All right, so we're just going to stretch out the hip stretch. If this is too intense in your knees for you, just pop onto your butt and do butterfly, inguinal stretch. Otherwise, take the shins out to the side, keep them in parallel. Put yourself down on your elbows and just gently sit back. Now, if you want, you can start well within your range of movement and do micro bounces, very small, super, super small. Definitely don't do bounces at your extreme, your edge of range of movement. And then just start to take yourself a bit more towards the end of your range and just breathe into that. Let the breath and the natural relaxation of the muscles just start to widen the stretch. Good. On your forearms, creep yourself forwards, keep the legs where they are until your belly hits the ground. Then just close your legs. Good. Coming up. And I'm just going to pop one leg forwards into a pigeon stretch, sitting up and settling down into this hip. And if you feel like it, you can go onto your shoulders, I mean elbows and forearms. And if you've got your left foot forward, feel like you're trying to take your left shoulder towards your right foot. If you've got your right foot forward, take your right shoulder towards your right foot. If you want to, if you're available for it, you can lie down. Good, use your breath to come up. Sorry, breathe in, use the out breath to come out. Wow, I'm just giving you helpful advice today, aren't I? Other leg. Same again, so if I've got my right leg forwards, I'm going to imagine my right shoulder's trying to reach that right foot. It's confusing because your right foot's on the left hand side at the moment, but you know what I mean. And if you feel like you can also just lie down into that. Good. Breathe in. Use the out breath to come up out of that. And just back onto all fours again. And just take one hand, thread it through, and just stretch the outside of the arm by using the ground as your pressure point. And use the outward breath to come up. Changing that one. Good, coming back up again on the outward breath, and again just going up through the spine and down. Good, now arch up, stay arched and just rock back until you find a stretch in between the shoulder blades. So I'm being muffled by my jumper. And back up, just wiggle out the butt like a happy dog. Beautiful, go into your bellies and just taking foot, bring it towards the butt. And then change the grip so that your hand's on the inside of the foot and gently encourage it outside. Just be gentle if you're feeling pressure on the knees with this. Good, back in, changing over legs. And outside. Good, back in, hands underneath, just back up into all fours. And once again, just cat cow. And just start to circle through one way. And change direction. Great. And then just either sitting, if you're uncomfortable on your knees, you can do this just sitting on your butt. Just put the fingertips facing backwards or lean forward, and then gently lean back against it till you find a stretch along the forearms. If you want to increase the stretch, have the hands further out in front of you. Good, come forward to release that. Just shake them out. And then with the hands, with the fingertips facing backwards, same again, just rock back to stretch it out. Good, coming forwards. And just bringing yourself up into an A-frame. And hang over. And some gentle swings. Keep swinging. Good, reaching out as far as you can with your fingertips and pull back gently against them, lifting the butt towards the ceiling. Good, bend the knees, just come into the center. Put the weight on the ball of the right foot, cross the left foot in front, and just gently straighten the legs until you find a stretch. Relaxing down the head. If you rock the weight into the heels, the stretch will lift higher up towards the butt cheeks and the small of the back. And now just gently rock forwards. If you can't put your weight on your hands, you can put them on your knees, but just be careful how far forward you go. Just putting the weight into the ball of the foot to send the stretch a bit more down to the calf. Good, just bend the knee, uncurl that, put the weight in the ball of the left foot, put the right knee across, and relaxing down to the stretch. Let the head be nice and heavy here. And then if you have control and you feel like it, you can just rock the weight further into the ball of the foot. And just a couple more to finish, because of course I never finish when the music does. Pop the left foot underneath, right knee on top, left arm over the top, and then stretching up through. You can use this elbow to help increase the stretch, which you'll either feel along the outside of the leg, or maybe through the butt, or maybe through the back or the ribs, depending on where you're most tight. And just come back in. I'm not going to do the funky way today. You can. Cross over, right leg underneath. Remember, this leg can be straight if that's too intense on the knee. Right arm over the top. And stretching around. Yes. Lifting up tall as you do it. This is just one of the best stretches in the world. Beautiful. Back onto all fours. Line up the hands underneath the shoulders. Line up your outstretched index fingers so they're parallel with thumbs outstretched about a thumb width apart. Tuck the toes under, so the knees under the hips, lift the butt towards the ceiling. And just try and put your thighs on the wall behind you as you're lifting the butt towards the sky. Letting the shoulder blades come together. Don't worry about the heels touching the ground. Think more about sending the thighs backwards. Good, soften that. Let's walk the hands in, rolling up through the spine. Good, and just to finish, let's roll through the shoulders. And some gentle twists. Keep the knees bent at the moment. I am letting the hips come with me on this movement, but just making sure you don't go so far that you feel any pressure on the knees. Keep going. That's just my neighbour next door. Good, now keep the hips and the head facing forwards, just use the shoulders. Let the arms be super floppy. Should be a slight knee bend. And still the feeling that the top of the head wants to rise up, the butt of course wants to sink down. And it's going to finish by bouncing, rolling up and then brush down. And again. And just change it to swinging forward. Just stretching at the small of the back, silly top, stretching at the small of the back. Knees nice and bent. Feels like you're trying to bring your chest towards your legs and then arms are just super floppy. Good, and then rolling up through the spine. Great. That's today's session. I'm going to roll up my wrist while I talk to you. There's always something more to do. Oh, this is why I limit myself to half-hour sessions, because honestly, if I didn't create these limbering sessions, I just start warming up and then I'm there for like 2 hours and then the day's gone. So this is great to make me do structure. Hey, so thanks. Hey, 95 tomorrow. Check us out. Hope you're keeping safe. It's tough in Melbourne right now, so you might not be in second lockdown when you're hearing this, but anyways, putting out there, reach out to each other, give everyone some love. The overwhelming majority of people in Melbourne and Victoria and Australia and across the world are actually doing the right thing, and it's bloody tough to see numbers rise when everyone's doing the right thing. Sorry, my neighbour hasn't got COVID, she's just got allergies. Anyways, take care of yourselves. Please be kind to each other and be very kind to yourself. Crikey. Wow. Okay, bye.